Welcome to part 2 of Wrestling with Comedy. I am your host, the real deal Joel Davis. This is part 2 of episode number 8, 2025. The year in review, the wild, crazy, and exciting ride in stand-up comedy. We left off with talking about how different things happen in comedy as far as being a promoter. And just the other day, like I was saying in episode 1, I was advertising on Craigslist, and the mistake I made, it was my mistake, and I probably should have thought it over a little bit and know that this is the way it's done in promoting. And I've seen it in promoting, even being in the sports collectible business. It's similar because what ends up happening is other competition, so to speak, that may feel a little intimidated, or they may just have a dislike for the person, or they want to secure their position in their promotion, or they're just being, an asshole. Whatever the reason is, when I put the ad on Craigslist on the promoting about 2026, that Keeping It Real Comedy is booking venues at the time, that ad was on Craigslist for approximately 3 or 4 days with no problems whatsoever. It was listed, it was renewed, there was no incidents, there was no emails, there was no warnings on the advertisement, nothing. As soon as I put that on Facebook, and I know there's a lot watching my posts, and people that may be promoters or maybe working for other promoters or may have a grudge, whatever that is, it's just everything's date stamped, time stamped rather. I watched it happen within 2 minutes. It was about 2 minute span. Someone went on Craigslist because they ended up seeing it on Facebook. This is not, you don't have to be Albert Einstein to figure this one out. And this is 100% sure this happened. And again, proves the fact that the same ad was on for 4 days with no problems. Goes on Facebook within 2 minutes. My ad is flagged and suspended and taken off Craigslist. And it's because it was put on Facebook. So somebody on Facebook saw it go on, and they went on and they reported. And just so everybody knows, I've been working with Craigslist for years, advertising shows and being a businessman and promoter since the 90s. Craigslist has been a great avenue to use. It's great. Craigslist is still up and running. It's not as busy as it used to be, of course, but it still has some benefits. But just so you know, if you have any advertising or any ads or any promotion on Craigslist, your ad can be flagged for no apparent reason. Just somebody just doesn't like it. They take offense to it. They may know you personally, so they don't want your ad on there for whatever reason. They have nothing else to do. They have no life. They feel that you may be a threat to their promotion or their business or something that you're doing that they're doing. They don't want the competition. They can just flag it. And that's just what happened. They flagged it. So it was gone. So that's just another part of being a promoter. These are just all the time and the effort that goes into it, and then somebody goes and pulls a stunt like that. So that's a little bit behind the scenes in 2025 as far as being a promoter. So there's been all kinds of different little activities happening. People have looked and it's not a lie. I mean, it's not even a exaggeration. I'm trying to figure out the words to say here. That's why you see me kind of beating around the bush a bit. But it was kind of like, how could Joel Davis be a headliner? Because I'm an entertainer. I've been an entertainer since the 90s. I'm a 2-time Jerry Springer Show guest on Chicago in 99, the hot era. Okay? That is entertainment. That is comedy. That's national television. Okay? Jerry Springer Show, twice. Professional wrestler, 18 years. MMA fighter, 4 years. Motivation speaker, 4 years. 5 commercial tryouts. Modeling agency. The road show contestant. I could go on a little bit more. I'm an entertainer. I've been an entertainer. So that goes, there's a little credential there. Let's be honest. I mean, some other headliners in the area, they may, there's no time frame. These guys that say, well, it's 10 years and all this shit, that's bullshit. It's different time for different people. Because there's guys that have been doing comedy for 10 years, guys been doing comedy for 20 years, that it's doing the same fucking set that they were doing 20 years ago, and they're not a headliner, even though if they say they're one. So let's be honest. Let's just be honest about it. Let's be real. Let's keep it real. And not everyone, because there are some that are good, and there's some that, everybody's got their own opinion. It's like, it's like anything else. Everybody's got an asshole. Jeez. But 2025, what a year, not to get off track, but we have to vent a little bit because the podcast is wrestling with comedy, and we're like wrestling and fighting with comedy, trying to do the best we can, and that's what we're doing. 2025, we're talking about it. We're back there in Cranston, Rhode Island in August and in September and even October. We're back in there and killing it there. Good audience in October and back in Cranston, Rhode Island. But in between all that, October 4, I'm up at the Pump House for Poppy. That was a great show. In October 4 in the Pump House, Wakefield, Rhode Island. Great show. Poppy's a pro. She's been around a long time. She's a pro. She runs a good show. And that was in Wakefield, Rhode Island at the Pump House. I was happy to be back there. I hadn't been there for a while. October 4th, I was on that show. And then after October 4th, basically about 10 days later, 12 days later, I left for New York. And I was out there, mid-October doing 2 shows out there. One was an open mic show. And that show there was the Buddha Club, Comedy Club. That was a fun show. And the Whiskey Cellar, I was a headliner in New York. Okay, I was a headliner in New York at the Whiskey Cellar for Brian Stoops. He put me as a headliner. You don't ask him. He looks at my material, puts me on top. I'm the last comedian. Announced the headliner. I'm the headliner in New York City. Period. Humbled, blessed. What a year. And that's in October now with everything else that's happened in the year of 2025. I was surprised. I wasn't sure that I would be the headliner for that show, but Brian thought that it was a good idea to make me the headliner, and I really appreciate it, Brian. Brian Stoops, shout out to you, and Happy New Year to you. 2025, what a ride. The crazy, wild, and exciting ride in stand-up comedy. And then just this December, earlier this month, Latasha Hughes brought me in. I did one of her shows there, the 20 Spot show in Worcester, Massachusetts. Fun time, great time. I was happy to be able to donate the 9 WWE licensed Rocky Maivia The Rock 16-ounce glasses to her. They're like a mug glass type thing with Rocky Maivia's image on it. I donated if she wants to give it to the kids for the Christmas or for any kind of charity, because I know Latasha does a lot with charities out there in Worcester. That's something that I wanted her to have. And I worked out there with some good comedians. And that was in Worcester, Massachusetts on December 11th. And just so we can go back to New York, I got to shout out to these 2 ladies, of course, because they are 2 friends of mine. I would consider them true friends. That's Julie Wesnner and Christine Gigi Fall. They're both friends of mine. They actually became friends, but they weren't friends when they started working with my promotion. But they became friends. So they were booked with the promotion originally just because of their talent and to give them opportunity. Gigi Fall was the host in October at the show in Cranston, Rhode Island. And Julie Wesnner had done a outdoor show this past summer in Rainham, Massachusetts. Both great comedians and good friends, and they were both in New York with me, and they both had done the Buddha Club, and they both did Brian Stoops' show at the Whiskey Cellar. I am still negotiating with somebody in New York to bring Keeping It Real comedy for 2026 to New York City. But it's like anything else. It's not something that you just, say, yeah, I'm going to do it, because it's a big step. I want to bring quality to the shows. I don't want to bring shows that are not quality. And I think that, bringing a quality show goes a long way. And anybody that's seen me in 2025, I just want to say, if you came out to a show, if it was one of my shows or if it was anyone's show, if it was anyone else's show that I happened to be on, even being partially, we'll call it partially blackballed in New England, since I've reached out to many different promotions in New England. Many that we won't go into names, that just don't want to have nothing, they don't actually want to even look at possibly bringing me in, which don't make too much sense since, I consider myself a quality comedian. I consider myself someone that gives it my all. I help try to promote. I help try to sell tickets if I can. I advertise all through social media. I use my own money to make extra flyers for those shows that I'm on and distribute those flyers. I hang flyers at different merchants. I mean, come on. I mean, because of the controversial or someone in your ear telling you, hey, listen, blah, 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 don't, what I mean? It's called blackballed, and that's what it is. But, Poppy had me on a show this year. Latasha had me on a show this year. And then all the other shows in New York City, 2 shows in New York City, 12 or 13 shows in Austin, Texas, another 13 shows in Rainham, Mass, another 6 shows in Cranston, Rhode Island, a show in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Those are all opportunities that I made for myself. But it took time, it took money, it took effort in 2025. And when I look at it, so much that has been accomplished in 2025, it basically just it's great, and it pays off. But anyone that knows me, anybody that became my friend or even associate, or if anyone out there that's that even if you're someone that don't really know who I am personally or whatever it might be, or you might have mixed feelings, or you may just listen to what the next person might say about the character of comedian Joel Davis in 2025, or whatever have you. I mean, whatever it is, just remember one thing: I'm giving it my all, just like everybody else. I'm not wishing anybody bad. I hope everybody does well. I hope everybody has peace, love, and happiness in 2026. I mean that. There's no one that I dislike in comedy. There's nobody that I wish bad in comedy. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just saying it the way it is. And that's just the way that I am. I mean, I'm a grown man. I've been around. I've been there, done that. I've got a great experience. I mean, I've had multiple people over the years tell me that, they said in their opinion, I've lived 12, 13, 14 lives. And, I'm a wise man. I'm smart. I'm very smart to a lot in life. And I observe everything. And I appreciate everything in 2025, all the opportunities in 2025. It's been such a rush in 2025. And I will tell you this. There was another situation in 2025 that we're going to bring up. We're going to talk about it on this episode, part 2 of the 2025 year in review. And that was the information and the offer of the $100 bonus. So the $100 bonus is basically something that I gave incentive to individuals that they could obtain a $100 bill if they could lead me to a venue that we could book at least one show. Just one show. It doesn't have to be multiple shows. One show that we actually book it. If we book one show at a venue that they lead me to, I'll do all the other work, the meetings, the phone calls, the emails, the paperwork, checking the venue, looking at the venue, of course, flyers, tickets, whatever has to be done, booking the comedians, getting the DJ to come in. Everything is all on me. All they do is find the venue, lead me to it, drop my name, and then I go in. And it's $100. And I've done this before in other different parts of business in my life. And I've handed out a few $100 bills, to be honest with you, a few, and I'm ready to do it again. But what happens is we've had a few people try, not really many, maybe 2 or 3 different individuals try to get a contact, and most just brush it off because they're either in comedy or they're so busy in what they're doing, or they don't want to get into someone's territory, and I get all that. And that's why everything that we've had for Keeping It Real Comedy, including the Woonsocket, Rhode Island shows, the Cranston, Rhode Island shows, the Rainham, Massachusetts shows, possibly New York City coming up shows, and other parts of Massachusetts shows coming up in 2020, they're all personally obtained through my effort and my, basically effort and time and work to try to get these venues. So if I don't get the venue, we're pretty much not running a new venue unless I obtain it, because what ends up happening is it's dog eat dog. I mean, that's really what it is. But so one individual had sent me a contact, and I had called this contact. This is a true story, and this is something that you can learn from. Listen close to this episode here, part 2 of episode 8, 2025 year in review. 2025 in the summer of 2025, and I believe it was. I mean, I have all the dates here. I have everything written down here, but it was it was the September. Yeah, it was the September show. So it was right at the end of the summer. I spoke with an individual who was very nice woman. We won't mention any names. Very nice woman, and I was connected to her from someone who was looking for the $100 bonus, the finder's fee. And I contacted this woman, and we talked on the phone for about 30 minutes. We emailed 2 or 3 times. We talked a second time on the phone. I believe it was the second time. We text messaged several times, and I ended up going to this woman's venue and looking at the venue, and it was a little bit of a ride out there, and parking was difficult, and I had my notepad, and I went over all the information. We had a meeting that lasted approximately 30-40 minutes, and I brought that into the day, and I went over everything, gave her all these details, gave her some information, and as a courtesy, gave her 4 complimentary tickets for an upcoming show in Cranston, Rhode Island. And she ended up going to the show, and actually one of the individuals ended up paying for their ticket, which I thought was such a class act. And the other 3 individuals took the comp tickets and just came in and enjoyed the show, which is fine because I gave them the tickets. But I wanted to see how I ran a show with the DJ. I wanted to see my material. I wanted to see my comedians. I wanted to see what we had in store so we could go ahead and book that show. When the dust was clear and it was all said and done, the show was over and nothing was said. And, I was paying all the comedians, and we were talking over the show and taking some photos with the people and with the other comedians and squaring everything up at the end of the night. And these individuals had left the building, and, I didn't think much of it. And I said, geez, I was wondering if I'd get a phone call or, because that's what we were doing. We're trying to get this show booked for Keeping It Real Comedy. And within 24 hours, I started getting the messages, the text messages, the calls. There were 1, 2, 3 comedians out of my lineup that night that got booked. They got booked. They got booked by her. She booked them. And she put them on the show with the same type of I heard about the show. It was not that I even asked about it, but it was just brought to my attention about what the show was about, where it was, the date, everything else. 3 comedians that were on my show were approached sometime during, I would imagine, after the show. I mean, I was busy, so I wasn't watching everything that was going on. Or I've got exchange contact, which is fine. It's independent stand-up comedy. These are not exclusively my comedians. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not getting to that point at all. My point is, in 2025, this happened. When this happened, it ended up being that it was the same shows, like the creation that I had made with her. It was the creation. It was the same venue. It was pretty much everything. And then when I found out about it, I said, wow. I says, So, and three comedians that were booked on the show, one in particular was very excited about it, and that's good for you. And the other two comedians never even told me about it. One comedian out of the three that were booked told me about it, but I heard about the other two, and I saw the flyer. Come on. You don't think I see shit? I mean, I see shit too. I'm in stand-up comedy. I see what's going on too, I'm interested in. I love seeing different people work together. I like seeing the different flyers and the shows, and it's great. And I like it. I just love everything about stand-up comedy. But there's things that happen in stand-up comedy and entertainment in general that you just kind of you're like, oh, what the hell is this? And I thought about it after. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, not that I wasn't told about that these comedians were getting booked. I didn't get booked. It wasn't even my show. It was supposed to be a show that I was bringing in the promotion for her with my comedians. So I would bring everybody in. And if she had some comedians she wanted to bring in, that would have been fine too. Because we had the meeting. I took all that time. What really gets me is I took time and effort. And this was a lead that I had. And this lead was like a dead-end lead. It was just it was a lead. And the person that sent me to this person did it sincerely, I know for a fact. And was looking for $100, to be honest. Which is fine. I mean, they didn't get the $100 because, shit, look what happened. So not only did I give away 4 tickets, and 3 of the tickets were actually complimentary, and one individual did pay for his ticket. So, $60 worth of tickets given away. They enjoyed the show. They had a fun time. It was good to see them. But very little conversation with them. And I wish they had talked to me. I really wanted to work with them. And maybe I will in the future. And it's not the end of the world, but it's just so odd how things happen. That these other comedians get booked that are found at my show, that they find my comedians at my show, that I gave them free tickets to be at my show, that I had met with them previously and spent literally hours when you look at the meeting and then the phone calls, a couple hours of my time and effort to go over the show structure with them, that we're bringing and keeping it real comedy. Free tickets at the show, 3 comedians, they get booked, they do the show, and apparently they were happy, which is great. And Joel Davis doesn't get a venue and doesn't get booked. So it's all part of the game. Am I crying about it? Absolutely not. I'm fucking smiling about it. Just more experience. It's just the way it is. It's 2025. 2025 from Rhode Island to Connecticut to Austin, Texas to New York City. Headlined in Rhode Island. Headlined in New York City. The mothership in Austin, Texas. Guest spot for Funny Charlie Mack, the golden ticket winner. All kinds of new contacts that I've made in the year of 2025. Huge news that's going to blow you away in the first quarter of 2026. It's a fact, Jack. Watch it happen. See it happen. I want to thank everybody in 2025. If you had anything to do with Keeping It Real Comedy, came to any of my shows, watch any of the YouTube videos, anything to do with my journey as a stand-up comedian Joel Davis in 2025, I want to thank you personally and sincerely. I wish you all the best. Keep your head up. Remember, the good always will beat the evil. Positive people, positive vibes. God is good. God is great. I'm a wise man, believe me when I tell you. I'm very sharp in a lot of different avenues. And I want to spread that joy, and I want to spread my positive energy and help others. Because remember, when you're down, someone kicks you, they might be kicking the wrong person, because we're going to get up someday. And if you're down, remember how it is to be up, because life is ups and downs. And keep that in mind. Keep chasing your dreams. I know I'm going to. So watch Keeping It Real comedy promotion in 2026. Keep on tuning in to Wrestling with Comedy podcast. And watch comedian Joel Davis in 2026. After this year in 2025, what's next? Stay tuned. Until next time, keep it real at all costs.